This is the T1200Pro Robot Lawn Mower, wire-free. My first impression was equal parts curiosity and skepticism. I've owned boundary wire mowers before, and I've spent too many weekends chasing broken wires and patching weird dead spots. So the promise of a wire-free setup had my attention, but I was prepared for headaches with GPS, mapping, and app stuff. Key features that stood out to me from the start are the wire-free mapping, the RTK positioning with a vision system, the quiet operation, and the level of control in the app. If you're new to this tech, RTK is like GPS with a correction signal. You place a small base station where it has a clear view of the sky. It refines the mower's location down to near centimeter accuracy, so it can follow virtual boundaries instead of real wires. The mower also uses a camera-based system, VSLAM, to recognize landmarks and confirm where it is, and internal sensors, gyros and accelerometers, help it stay oriented when signals dip. That combo is what lets it mow in neat, parallel lines instead of wandering randomly. Setup was faster than I expected. I planned the dock on a flat, open patch and mounted the RTK antenna where it could see the sky. The app walks you through the steps with short tutorials, and there's a mandatory firmware update before mapping. Mine glitched on the first try due to Wi-Fi, but the app created a ticket automatically, and support pushed the update later that afternoon. From opening the box to the first map took me roughly 20 minutes once that was sorted. I tried both mapping modes. Automatic is good if your yard has clear edges like fences, and manual is nice if you want to trace curves around beds or gravel. I appreciated that I could edit the map later without starting over. I moved some planters and adjusted a no-go zone on the fly in the app, and the mower respected the change immediately. From my experience, the navigation looks and feels precise. The mower follows straight passes and shifts the angle by about 15 degrees between jobs, so I get those clean striped lines without rutting the lawn. It's quiet, about 56 dBA, so I run it while I'm working from home, and the hum blends into the background. The cut quality is consistent, and the floating 3-blade disc evens out bumps better than I expected for such a light unit. The cutting width is about 8 inches, which is narrow compared to a push mower, but that's the trade-off for agility around landscaping. Cutting height adjusts in the app from roughly 1.18 to 2.36 inches, and I usually keep it in the middle to avoid scalping on uneven patches. On safety, the front camera does a good job spotting people, pets, and random yard clutter. I tested it with toys and a hose left out, and it slowed, steered around, and kept going. The blade stops instantly when lifted or tilted. It also pauses at night to protect wildlife and returns to the dock. When it rains, it heads back, waits it out, and resumes. The mower is IPX6 rated, so rinsing off dirt is easy, and at 24 pounds it's light enough to move without wrestling. Power has been reliable. The battery is listed at 5 Wh, and I get around 100 minutes per charge on my grass and terrain. On a 0.35 acre yard, it usually wraps up within a single afternoon, returning to the dock automatically around 20% and resuming once it hits 90%. Charge time is about 70 minutes. If you split your property into separate areas without a connecting passage, the app will remind you to relocate the mower, and then it picks up the next zone without confusion. The app is the control center, and it's surprisingly thorough. I set up multiple zones with different schedules and heights, marked no-go zones for flower beds, and even created a narrow passage between areas so it doesn't get lost. Real-time tracking on the map is handy when I'm inside and want to see where it's working. There's a bit of a learning curve because there's a lot you can tweak, but the layout makes sense after a day or two. In my opinion, the depth of control is a major reason to consider this over older systems. I can change mowing angles, tweak frequency, and adjust edges without touching the yard physically. Not everything was flawless. Under a dense tree canopy in one corner, I've seen brief RTK drops. The mower doesn't panic. It leans on the camera and internal sensors and reconnects faster than I expected. But it's something to consider if your yard is heavily wooded or surrounded by tall buildings. Edge cutting is good, not magical. The ride-on edge pass gets close, but I still grab a string trimmer along fences and my deck to get that clean, crisp edge. I also had a charging issue once after about 6 weeks. The display acted up and it wouldn't top off the battery. Support diagnosed a faulty power supply and shipped a replacement within 3 days, and it's been solid since. I value that kind of response because this is a software-driven product that will rely on updates over time. I've already had one firmware update that fixed a map-related quirk, and it shows the platform is evolving in a positive direction. It's perfect for small to mid-size lawns where you want a neat, consistent cut without babysitting. If you like the idea of setting schedules, letting it maintain the lawn frequently, and touching up edges yourself every now and then, you'll probably be happy. If you're trying to reclaim knee-high grass, this isn't a brush cutter. It shines when it's trimming a few times a week and mulching fine clippings to feed the lawn. The lightweight design also keeps it from chewing up soft ground, which I noticed after rain when my yard was still a bit spongy. Let me spell out what mattered most to me in day-to-day use. I don't miss perimeter wires at all. The clean stripes and consistent height have made my lawn look better than when I did it with a traditional mower, mostly because I'm not skipping weekends anymore. The low noise means it runs while I make coffee or take calls. The app can be as simple or as nerdy as you want. You can set a single schedule and forget it, or spend time fine-tuning zones and angles. The RTK base station placement is the one area to think through carefully. Give it clear sky and you'll avoid most headaches. And while the edge pass helps, plan to keep a trimmer handy if you want showroom borders. I'd recommend this for homeowners up to around 0.35 acre who want wire-free convenience, quiet operation, and flexible app control. If you're comfortable with your phone and don't mind a short setup session to get the map right, you'll get a lot of value out of it. If your property is extremely shaded or surrounded by tall obstacles, or if you want a mower that nails every edge with zero touch-up, set expectations accordingly. In conclusion, the T1200 Pro has earned a permanent spot in my routine. The combo of RTK guidance, camera vision, and smart sensors delivers the precision I hoped for, and the app control lets me tailor the cut without stepping into the yard. It's not perfect, but the strengths outweigh the quirks. From my experience, the wire-free approach, the quiet work, and the steady cut quality have been worth it. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more real-world gear reviews and tips. Drop your questions or your own experience with robotic mowers in the comments. I read and reply. Thank you for watching.